Hello everybody and welcome back to GP2 here on SFR. My name is JB. I'll be taking you through tonight's proceedings on my own because for some reason COVID-19 has scared away every other commentator on the block. Maybe it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi beard I've got going on right now. But currently I'm not alone here in the GP2 commentary booth, which is very spacious now that we're on our own. I am joined by, and this is the first time he's going to hear it in Trem, the Season 6 GP2 champion, James Brett. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, great to hear that.
It's been a number of seasons, hasn't it?
When did I join? I joined season 3. That was when I joined. I only did a couple races. Season 4 was GP2, which was when my teammate Mike Bundy won, but I joined GP2 too late because I was in the Prem when that got unfortunately shut down. Then season 5 last year I was in Prem, didn't have stood a chance to win. But then this year was really my chance. First time I've had a chance to go for the title and wrapped it up. So yeah, can't believe I'm saying that really.
Well, throughout this season it's not been easy, but it's not been difficult either, has it?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I've had the championship lead since Baku? Yeah, and I haven't lost it since. It got very close at times. The league got down to 2 points. But I've always come back strong for when the gaps got very narrow. And when I've had the chance to win, I've taken it. I've always tried to maximise my results. And yeah, it's just incredible that I'm SFR, so Season 6 GP2 champion, which no one can take away from me regardless. So yeah, really
until
happy.
SFR becomes obsolete and someone reboots it and calls it Force Speed Racing.
Yeah, but it's like for me on a personal note, it's been 4 years since I've won a title. The last time I won on a league was in F1 2016, so it's been a long road back to the top. But I'm just so happy, and it's been a great season, really consistent. A couple of bad races here and there, but I've got what I could out of the car, and that's why I'm champion.
So now the pressure's off. What are you going to be? Well, his gloves are off. Are you going to get a little bit more punchy than I am?
No, I don't know. I'll race hard at the end of the day. I think I'll just be relaxed. I don't really care what happens now. If I have a chance to win, I'll go for it, as I always do. Always my motto. But
you're driving a Mercedes and you're at Brazil. That tends to not go well currently.
Yeah, it's not really a Merc stronghold, is it, Brazil?
Not anymore.
No. When did
Unless it rains.
No, yeah.
It could happen if it rains.
Oh,
I think the last Mercedes win
rained.
was
2018.
No.
Yeah, 18. Hamilton won. Yeah, because Verstappen got hit by Ocon, didn't he? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I tend to think that Ocon turned into Verstappen, but you know.
I think Ocon shouldn't have gone for the move, to be fair.
Here's the argument. Say,
Max
had done the same move. Max had done the same move early on in the race on someone else on Esteban's side, doing the same move that Esteban did, but he didn't leave room like the other car had done to him.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, he could have gone for the move. There's nothing in the laws that say you can't overtake.
No, it's just the laws of Max Verstappen can't be overtaken because I'm Max Verstappen.
Yeah, to be fair, actually thinking about it, I think the only thing I would have questioned about Ocon was that he went for a move, that even if it was a racing move, like it was always going to shut that gap, but I don't think he cares.
The gap didn't shut before, because again, I'll bring it back to when Max did it, the gap didn't stop.
Yeah, true. Very true.
So, looking forward now, you have 2 rounds left of the championship. You have Abu Dhabi, which arguably is a track where you don't want to be at because nobody likes Abu Dhabi, and Brazil. Now, this track should be where they end the championship, and in a way it has, but it should be the fun of the rest of the season because it has so much pedigree. What are you looking forward to in this race? Would you like a bit of rain? Are you going to start from the back? Are you going to show off some moves?
I'll qualify. We'll see how it goes. I'd like if it rained. I'll tell you in a minute.
This is the advantage of having a Mercedes affiliation.
Yeah, no, I do like the rain, but I haven't practiced the rain.
You practice?
Yeah, I do a bit of practice, just to get the setup sorted. Not loads, a little bit on a Saturday.
Practice
yeah, it's not great fun. I must admit, sometimes it feels like you are driving in circles, but sometimes it is important just to get the
I should hope you're driving in circles. If you're driving off somewhere and you get lost, you might be doing the Kimi Räikkönen.
But no, I do a bit of practice, but I kind of find better is just racing. Like, I find that helpful. Keep your racing senses strong instead of just practice.
Well, we'll find out what the weather's like as we head into Brazil in a moment's time, and it is perfectly dry in qualifying. Now down to the Mercedes pit garage with James Braden, champion. What is the weather like?
So it's wet at the beginning of the race, and then it's going to dry up.
Ooh, goody! I'm very excited.
Light rain with damp conditions, so it's going to be inters, and then it's going to be dry after about 20 minutes or 10 minutes. So it's going to be probably inters for about 5 laps or something, and then we're going on to slicks.
Ooh. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll let you go, mate. Get your helmet on rather than your headset. And we might see you at the end of the race as we see cars leaving pit lane now. The Alfa Romeo, the first one out the track. I believe that is Shadow Britton, who normally joins the commentary but is elected to race today in the Alfa Romeo Sauber team. So running down through the incredibly difficult, almost S-shaped pit lane as he runs up, passing the Williams driver. And now heading onto the main racetrack. Let's take a look at this track here. This is Interlagos, the Brazilian Grand Prix circuit in Sao Paulo. A brilliant Grand Prix circuit that has given great history and great races, notably Senna winning in the MP4-4 in 1988. Max Verstappen sensational driving in 2016 and then to come back in 2019 after a year, as James Braden mentioned, of disappointment in 2018 to win the race. Controversially, we've had races like 2008 where the championship was won on the final lap of the final corner when Lewis Hamilton overtook Timo Glock to take the championship ahead of Felipe Massa, who was world champion for a good 40 seconds. And obviously the enjoyment of seeing the drivers race hard and fast here at a classic Formula One circuit. Let's ride on board for the first time of the circuit with Shadow Britton, who's reserving the Alfa Romeo Sauber team. Let's put up the telemetry and let's see what we can do as he ploughs into turn 1 and turn 2. The Senna S, as it's called. What can he do? He has got traffic in front of him, as we see on the track map, as he comes flying through, heading towards the DRS, straight DRS, open wide on the Sauber as he runs into the sharp left-hander. And obviously it's purple sector 1 because he is the first driver to set a lap time. Slight bit of lag there. He runs up towards a quick, fast left-hander where Nelson Piquet Jr. and Adrian Sutil made contact in 2009. Or Giancarlo Fisichella, one of the two. Now running down through the ever so tightening left-hander to the right-hander to a very quick corner where he saw Lewis Hamilton end Alex Albon's first ever podium charge in 2019, now running up towards what is known as Young Zhao. Also, as Glock corner coming here, is that Glock? No, it's Shadow Britton. A very similar car though, as he runs up towards the line now. A very quick turn, as he pushes on hard. What can he do? Flat out from now, DRS open now, ERS mode to absolute maximum, tight as you can to the wall, limit wide here for Shadow Britton as he crosses the line, a 1:10.5, the first lap of the day, immediately shirked by a 1:9.2 by X Gamer. What an intriguing start already as T. Jonas has started his lap time. Here's King David, but Langfell going even faster in the Red Bull. That's what we expect to see from the Norwegian driver in the Red Bull racing car. So eyes front as all the drivers start to get ready to do it. Here's Lark, who's reserving in the Renault car. The man with the invalidated lap time. Let's take a look at him for a minute. Sanchevich going fastest, but Chen Wow going even faster here in qualifying. Here is the GP4 champion, so the rare occasion where we have two current champions of SFR on one grid. And here's Electro Dan, a very much not champion, but will be one in the future, running the Ayrton Senna tribute helmet that was provided with the Senna and Prost edition of the game here in 2019. Obviously, the penultimate round of the 2019 game in SFR. We'll see what the other drivers can do. Punching Yahid is there in P18. A lot of drivers, and here is the champion. What can champ number 6 do for SFR as he runs up with telemetry? Let's see what he can do. He's done a few bit of race practice, he said, as he runs into sector 2. First lap there was nothing stellar, maybe a little bit of a mistake as he powers up towards sector 2. Now the quick right hand flick, as he flicks through here and just lift off and shift down quite late in the corner and heading into the tight and twisty, they're sort of curves which are almost ovals. Almost ovals, almost chicanes, but they are just long curves. Again, Alex Albon corner. corner where a man's hopes and dreams ended in one day. While Nobili joining us late, a driver that said he was going to step down for the rest of the season because he couldn't win a race. Well, as now we see James Braden powering up towards the line, purple in sector 2. What can the to-be crowned champion do? DRS opens the powers along the line. Is he going to stay tight to that pit wall? He does stay tight to it, cutting the line shorter. It's going to be P2, a 1:08.2. So a 10th in it currently here in Brazil. Here is Potato heading into pit lane. So we will switch off Potato. We will find Stockwin reserving in the Alfa Romeo team. So Alfa Romeo running a fully reserved team here in GP2. What can he do on his, I believe, his first run out here in GP2? The number 19 car, pink, blue, and white as the helmet as he runs up. Well, it's actually red, okay. But it's like a very dark pink. Running up now through, flicking through, that's very close to the curve there, running over it, in fact. And then these never-ending corners, they just feel so tight. The weight of the corner being pulling on your neck, trying to rip your head off your shoulders. But it doesn't happen as he comes through towards the end of this sector. Ferrari stopped on track, letting drivers through. I tend not to do that, but hey-ho, your own choice. Purple, sector 2. Immediately taken away, so possibly not a little bit late on the brakes there for Stockwin. What can he do as the Ferrari of Chris? The alien is coming back too. What can we do? DRS open now as the Alfa Romeo tucks in tight towards the pit wall. He's going to be a P9 time. Here's Alien. What can he do? Even tight to the pit wall. It's going to be P5 for the 69 car. For all you children? Yes, that is fine. DRS opening on G. Johnson's car. I believe a previous winner here as he crosses the line is going to be P7. For the number 6 car. Swapping it out from number 2 to number 6 today. More drivers struggling on lap times. Here's Exclaimer, previous potential pole sitter as we look at the number 6 car. Sorry, the number 60 car. Do apologise. Exclaimer normally driving in the Toro Rosso car. I'm not sure why he's in the Williams this day. Or at least I've only ever seen him in the Toro Rosso. We will see what happens as he comes through the ever tightening corners. Looking for a moment of relaxation for his neck as the 61 car comes through towards the end of his lap time. Wanting to keep the car as stable as possible as he comes into the braking marker board, just hitting the 50 marker board just perfectly as he now runs up towards the line flat out. Absolutely power down for the Williams car. Normally very draggy, but on equal cars, this car is just as quick as any other. Coming now, tight to the pit wall, very tight to the pit wall. He's going to be a P7 lap time. But X-Gamer, very close lap times across the board right now. Mike Bundy currently about to set his lap time in the other Mercedes now. Sanchevich going even faster, a 1:08.065 is his lap time, and into pit lane comes Mr. Bundy for the Mercedes team. Braking hard. Pit limit's wrong. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Shadow written crossing the line is going to be a 1:09.6, which still puts him bottom of the leaderboard of the drivers who have put the current laps in. Electro Dan on a lap time, can he shock us today and have a good race with the 43 car? He's had a bit of bad luck recently, but let's see what he can do as he runs up towards sector 2. Putting as amount of pressure as he can on the car, wanting to keep everyone as entertained. There's Electro Dan using no ERS in the sector. I believe he may have abandoned the lap time if he's using no ERS. Glitch on the system. Looks to be a glitch on our current system as we're watching Electro Dan with the Senna helmet come into the final corner. Well, so we have a kink now. It looks like he's heading into pit lane. Does the Ferrari P6 current lap time? Here's Lazard. He's crashing. He's caught it. Very well caught there for Lazard as the 14 car almost plows it into the wall. Very well caught indeed. Here's Potato in the 96 car with the black star helmet. Well, sorry, with the black helmet with a red star on it. What can he do? in his first race for SFR around this track, and Shane Gainwell, the first driver to break into the sevens, 1 minute 7.786. Our current pole position time for the Williams driver of Shane Gainwell. Apologies if I missed anything today. This is a solo commentary brought to you here by JB. Looking to see what racing can give. Obviously, the reason we talked about the championship being wrapped up is down to the fact that, it seems we have a fuel issue here for the driver in front. Do apologise, the screen just goes blue for just a moment. So I just realised I left the party on private. I left the party on public, which is not really good if you're doing commentary. People tend to jump in and go, hey! It's like, no, go away. King David, the Scotsman, here in the Racing Point car. Whether he's re-signed for Racing Point for next season, we are unsure. Looks to be heading into pit lane this time round. And once again, to the debutant of Stockwin. What can Stockwin show us today? Liam Easy jumping in. Well, Mr. Carroll, ask you about F1 starting again. Well, I'm okay with F1 starting again. I'm worried about the marshals. Being one myself, I'm very worried about that. Twice in a row at Austria really leads into a certain Dutch driver's hands. Mr. Max Verstappen may be our championship leader come the end of the first 2 rounds in Austria later on in the year. As we look at Senna Martins with a hell of a golden helmet there on the car, gold and red. Not exactly Belgian colours. There's the 42 car show, but he's going to show off as much as he can in the Toro Rosso Honda. Last year of Toro Rosso, we will wave goodbye to Toro Rosso in SFR in the 2020 game in Season 7. We will be receiving a brand new and updated car. The Alpha Tauri will be hitting the track in a few months' time, but Martin's showing why they need a brand new updated car. Spinning up on the curb. Unfortunately, that's his qualifying lap over, and it's absolutely cream crackered his next lap as Stankovic retires with 6 minutes to go. That's a bit early. Is that a crash in Sector 1? That is a crash in Sector 1. Is there a driver in Sector 1 I can get? No. Has he pulled off? Where's the McLaren? Let's see. The car has just disappeared. Is there any carbon fibre? There's a lot of wheel spin. But no. So no images of that. I wonder if that was terminal damage. Here is the pumpkin-clad helmet of Chris Alien. There it is. So proper pumpkin helmet here. The man with the ever so spooky helmet comes up towards the start-finish line to pit in. For 5 minutes to go of his qualifying session, James Braden currently sat in P3. What can he do today? Drivers who have not set a lap time, Senna Martins and Punch Yahid. So what can Punch do as he comes through a couple of corners? The 93 car looking to show as much enjoyment as he can as he runs up towards Sector 3. How is his sector time going to clue up? He's going to be a 1:55.7. I'm not sure. A 55.7 for that sector. Not sure how good that is. As the competitive Renault, his teammate currently being P13, a debutant. What can a seasoned driver do as he comes towards the line? Big lag there. Do apologise. Not sure what's wrong with that. This game just despises me for lag. Not sure why. So, Stockwin heading into pit lane this time round, so he's on slow tyres. Here's Dantan in the Red Bull, the number 90 car. Punch hasn't driven for a while. That's absolutely fine. I think it's more down to the lag that he hasn't driven for a while. He's still a seasoned driver though. He's racing F1 racing SFL for a little bit of time, I believe, Lee. Has he not? Correct me if I'm wrong. I've got a bug bite on my arm and it bloody itches. Stockwin getting well in the way of Dantan, as Dantan who looking to take another win to his tally this season. Only 2 left to go, but it looks like, crossing over back onto the racetrack from the pit lane. Could be frowned upon, but who cares? It's going to be P3 for the current lap time here in Brazil. Here's Potato. You say potato, I say dinner, as he comes through Sector 1. Very slow there compared to the other cars. Less committed to the car? Less comfortable with the car? Questions will be lag there, so we'll switch off him. I'm not sure what his game is with this lag. It's impossible. Like, I can play games and they're seamless and they're fine. And that's like big online games like Star Wars Battlefront 2. But I'm not sure. So here's a man who's really on the money today. Martins, what can he do as he tries to set a lap time here in Brazil? DRS open for the GP4 champion. He runs up into sector 1. Let's do an onboard lap with him and see how his data stacks up against the drivers we've already seen with the onboard lap. Running onto the DRS straight now. First sector split was a 16.8. A little bit slow. Not a green sector time, but not a red one either. It's Codemaster. No further questions needed, of course. And he's off wide. Oh, no, he's not. Apologies for the lag there. As we look at the champion, braking hard. He's struggling a lot. I think that's down to internet connection. He has abandoned the lap time here in GP2. With 2 minutes to go qualifying, drivers are going to start peeling out of pit lane sooner rather than later to get to 2 laps in here in Brazil. What will happen at the stage of Sao Paulo with the wet weather coming? Who's going to play ball first time out? On board with Chris, or following Chris, sorry, the 69 car, I believe. The 69 Ferrari coming through. Looking very neat and tidy. No rear end slip there. Sector 2 and 3's yellow flag starts waving. We'll just quickly erase the map and it should bring that back. Thank you. As we now look at what Alien can do. He's purple in sector 2. And he's looking very comfortable as he runs up towards the line. Going to be very, very quick lap time as the car goes slow further around in sector 2. Staying tight to the wall, those Aliens, he crosses the line. It's going to be P4. So a 10th quicker as the drivers start to get ready to come on. Chain going well with an invalidity lap time. Here's Punch. What can he do? He's going to be able to Rocky Balboa his way out of this race as he heads up towards the line. He's on the final road of grid so far. The only driver not set a lap time that hasn't been Martins crossing the line. Now he will set a lap time of a 1:08.7. It's going to be P14 for Adam, or Punchy Heat as you will know him. X-Gamer. Jordan, immediately jumping in chat. Hi Jordan, how you doing? As we now look at Martins, what can he do? Can he finally get that on the board? Can he beat his rival Punch? He's going to be in the P14, so immediately dethroning Punch. Where is Shadow Britain? Currently last on the grid. What can he do as he comes around the final corner now? Through the kink. DRS open as he stays close to the wall. He isn't staying close to the wall. He's losing about a tenth there. It's going to be closer, but not close enough. He's about 5 tenths off. Let's look at the individual lap time. The gap currently at the top is 2.07 seconds. As King David retires in P17. That's a quick thing. The top 15 all within a second of each other is fantastic. That's what we like to see. Look at the hair, actually. I do apologise. Qualifying is now over here as we see James Braden on an in lap, or a delayed lap, sorry, as he crosses the line. AI taking control as Lizard, as seems X-Gamer has improved. He's going to be starting a crisp P8 unless people can improve his Lizard. We're going to quickly see if we can jump onto the Renault of Lark. Lark into pit lane now. So it's the Ferrari that is going to be out of Electro Dan. He's going to go P7. And then the other Mercedes of Mike Bundy is going to pop it into P8. No defence needed though for the other. T. Jonas will be finishing qualifying with an invalidity lap time of in P11. Martins will not be improving his lap time. So that is essentially the grid set unless we see any improvements from the likes of Lizard, who's looking quick, looking racy, firing on all cylinders. The Honda engine tugging him along the straight is going to be P3. But pole position goes to the Williams of Chain Game Wow ahead of Sanchevich in P2 and Lizard Disman in P3. Who's ready for a wet start race? There's a crashed up Red Bull there. And Martins retires from the session, giving us a nice spread. Lizard, P3 out of 18 racing. Well, 19 races, with Billy being in P20. If you're talking about that particular thing, about RPM, Leo already messaged. So, here's the grid heading towards the start of the race. Chain Gang Wow is in P1 ahead of Sanchevich, who's in P2. Lizard is in P3. Danton is in P4 ahead of Alien, who's in P5. Braden is in P6, ahead of Electro Dan, who's in P7. Langval is in P8, ahead of Mike Bundy, who's in P9. And Gamer is in P10. Outside of top 10, T. Johnson in P11, ahead of New Potato in P12. Larky in P13 on his first time out, ahead of Martins in P14. Stockwin in P15, again on his first time out, ahead of Punch in P16. King David in P17, and what seemed to be Shadow Britain in P18. And of course, Widler Billy was starting in P19 after failing to join qualifying on time. So, the rain falls, and it looks like slick tyres in the Ferrari garage. I wonder if we can get confirmation whether they're slick tyres of the car as we head on to the formation lap soon. Can we get some look? The marshals haven't got their raincoats on, just behind the screen, so it would seem that we might be running on slick tyres on a greasy, dank track, as a youth would say. And suddenly, JB has become James May. The sexual tension between you two in the comments is insane. They are on intermediate tyres. Here is they roll away for the formation lap, and a big wheel spin there for Shane Gainwell. Wanted to heat the tyres up as much as he can here in Sao Paulo. So all intermediate tyres, that throws the rule out of the way of the tyre stop. Now you can do whatever you want as they run towards Sector 2, with Shane Gainwell remembering that he has to respect the 10-car limit behind it. So let's run through the grid now in its entirety with camera shots. Ooh, shiny. Shane Gainwell is in P1 ahead of Sanchevich, who's in P2. Lazard is in P3 ahead of Dantan, who's in P4 in the Red Bull car. Chris Alien is in P5 ahead of James Brayton. The Season 6 champion-elect is in P6 ahead of Electro Dan, who's in P7. Langfell is in P8 ahead of Mike Bundy, who's in P9. X-Gamer is in P10 outside of the top 10, I'd say, with free tyre choice, but everyone's got free tyre choice. T. Jonas is in P11 looking for a good race ahead of Potato, who's in P12, who's got a champion in front of him to battle today. Lark on his first time out is in P13 ahead of Senna, who's in P14. Stockwin is in P15 ahead of Punchy Yahid, who's in P16. David is in P17, struggling in qualifying, but the intermediate tyres may make it better ahead of Shadow Breton, who's in P18, and Billy is in P19. Number 30, Haas, is looking to get on the grid and have some fun on a default setup. So as we make a run now, the 58 car leads the, I believe, 13 Haas, leads the 14 Toro Rosso. What will happen into turn 1? What will happen at any point in this race? We do not know. Cast your votes in the comments for how many safety cars we might see. With the wet weather, we could see a few. 19 drivers ready to start the race here in Brazil as the cars slowly crawl to the formation grid. Look at that. You should see the rear wheels light up on a few of the cars quickly. Whether we'll see it or not with this cold, damp weather here in Sao Paulo, we do not know. No cars feeling the need to warm up their tyres, just that little extra here on the grid. The number 13 Haas in P2. So, drivers are ready, the lights are on. Heading to 5 red lights, the lights are out. Now it's a jump start for Alien. It's a great start though for him with the jump start. And it's action in Brazil as they all go racing into turn 1. Alien jumping ahead. Remember, he will have to stop within 3 laps, though. And a sideways Toro Rosso in the background. It's Lazard. Sideways as he tries to battle on through. Might be further back, though. It might have been Martins. Lazard trying to challenge against Dantan. Alien dropping back as they all run through turn 1 and turn 2. All okay. Renault in the background. Fighting hard. Toro Rosso up on the grass. Renault crashing. It's Punch. Lucky he didn't collect anyone there at all. Sector 1 and 2, yellow flags are waving. And Alien battling hard with Sanchevich now into left-hander. This is where it can all go wrong on lap 1. They all filter through. It's all okay, though, as they all come through. Any safety car deployment? No. Billy up 1 position. Drivers obviously all trying to control their pace in these wet weather conditions and struggles already. We're seeing that contact further back with Punch losing his wing as will slide there for Dantan as we look at James Braden trying to slip his way past him. He cannot get past a Norwegian driver. McLaren in the wall, McLaren out of the wall. Big crash though, further back. It's Mike Bundy in trouble. McLaren have hit that wall pretty hard, and that wall might cause some trouble. Virtual safety car deployed here in Brazil, and the drivers are all nice and slow now, as that wall has caused a major bit of damage. It seems we have a few drivers with damage, maybe Bundy, potentially the McLaren, and Alien pits for his drive-through penalty for skipping the start. In Maldonado style start there back in Spain. Oh, and the leader's off. Leader off at turn 1 under the virtual safety car. This could dramatically affect his leader with a time penalty already. That's going to really affect his race. Drivers looking to play. And looking towards Punchy Hate regaining a penalty for speeding in pit lane. Dantan now poised to try and take the lead, or the lead without penalties on Santovic. And Lee, I like that. Yeah, I was just seeing that. I like that. So when are we going back to full course racing? Who knows at this point? And there we go, back to green flag racing, and Santovic in trouble as he loses it a little bit now, and Dantan looking to strike as he is in P2 of the race. Santovic now effectively leading the race due to the penalty. 2 drivers in pit lane, Mike Bundy and Punchy Heat on slick tyres as well. Do we see a flurry of drivers heading towards pit lane? That barrier is going to be dramatically in trouble if that thing hits anyone, showing another major problem with the Codemasters games. As now we see James Braden trying to force his way around. Santovic struggling on the track now, as further back as he drives snaky around, trying to find any form of movement now. They're running up towards the start-finish line. Are they going to head to pit lane round? We've seen a couple of drivers already come onto the slick tyres. These drivers do not believe it's time to pit. Stockwin in trouble. Stockwin in major trouble. DRS back in action now as Stockwin drops further on back. Big move here for Potato as he tries to pass Langfeld. Langfeld going wide. Langfeld is going to have to hold on. Potato is going to have the line. Oh, look at that. A quality move there from the Irishman, who's looking to make his name in SFR. The rain continuing to fall here on lap 3 at Brazil. DRS open for Langfeld as well. No, sorry, not open for Langfeld, but open for Potato. They all sail off as they head towards Sector 2. And Lee in the comments. Lee, what do you think of that start so far? As we keep an eye on everyone. The gap at the top coming down to less than half a second of the race. Let's have a look. Santovic seems to be a lot quicker, but whether whoever is brave to go on the slick tyres, that horrendous barrier could end a race right now. See an amazing amount of trouble from the Haas engine, the Ferrari engine in the back of the Haas car. As he drops back down, Dantan in trouble. What can the Norwegian do as he tries to defend from Braden? Braden, who's looking to get through and onto the podium. He's got a better run, better traction now as he tries to tuck up the inside or around the outside as they run up towards the line. Now, where can Braden go? DRS open now. Both cars with DRS, they flood through. Santovic pits. Lazard pits. A second faster. Langfeld with a time penalty now as James Braden goes faster and faster. He is now the owner of the fastest lap point in P2. Lee's saying he thinks Bundy's made a mistake, too early for drives. Well, Bundy is, he's had a history of pit lanes in the rain, so I hope that he is just a mistake. Dantan in serious trouble now, actually, from Potato. Potato's putting some serious show on today, wanting to race against the quick guys. Can Potato relegate Dantan onto P3 to P4? What can the Racing Point do? As Chris Alien gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in pit lane. Second trip to pit lane today. And the day just gets worse and worse for Alien. Big slide there for New Potato as Potato really struggles. So a little bit of information on Irish. He won the Reserve Championship on Sunday night here at Brazil, and he's on for a good show today as he fueled the grid on slick tyres, all going for it. Mike Bundy currently in P17. Early stopper for, I think, damage now. It seems that Potato hasn't got much else to do. He's going to be, though, on the podium. Let's see. James Braden pitted, and he was battling against Dantan. Dantan hasn't pitted yet. What are they going to be? Medium tyres. He's going to get held up massively. They're going to deploy him after the Racing Point. There he goes. The Mercedes not too joint up now as we look at Lazard powering up. Trying to pass Santovic now. Lazard, the fastest man in sector 3 of this race, as he now tries to find a way to filter into traffic. He's going to beat out T. Jonas. T. Jonas on the power early. He has beat out T. Jonas. He has also beat out James Braden. They run onto the track once more, and Langfeld also beating James Braden. Mike Bundy with the fastest lap of the race in P17 with fresh air. He's going to play as much as he can to try and catch up to the field in front of him. 36 laps of racing here. We are just on lap 5, so we've got about 31 or 32 more to go of this race. Unlucky for James getting held, says Laser. Yeah, it was unlucky for him to get held in this race. Current gap at the top, though, is 10 seconds between P1 and P2. P1 and P3. So a good 10-second gap, or 11-second gap, as we see drivers. Excuse me. Danta with a time penalty in for speeding in the pit lane, and crawling in comes Potato a few miles an hour slower. Billy dropping behind Bundy. Oh, Billy in trouble. It seems that, well, no, I'd say the barrier's calmed down, but it hasn't. And what can Punch do? So Punch getting past Billy easily. Apologies if I do yawn. I've just got off a four in a row 12-hour shifts at work. Lazard and Langfeld are racing towards Sector 2. And what can Braden do as he tries to get up and underneath him? Lazard's going to sail out wide. Langfeld's going to try and hold in there. And look at this. Up the inside comes James Braden. No competition there. It's just an excess bit of traction. There could be contact here. And Lazard, the Greek driver, planting on the brakes, going, cannot try it into this corner. I'll try again soon. Some Doctor Who nonsense going on with that barrier indeed, Lee. That's why it reacts whenever I come past, because my leg has got Doctor Who tattooed on it. See, there it goes. There we see Doctor Who and the mysterious case of the F1 barrier. Next Doctor Who episode, please cuss me a check, BBC. Langfeld under pressure from Braden, but also piling on pressure onto Santovic. Now, Santovic, who went for the hard compound tyres, he'll be a sitting duck right now. That could come back to him later on in the race, though, as we look at the Season 6 champion, looking to pass the Norwegian, who's about to pass the Belgian. The Belgian goes defensive, but tucks back underneath him. Braden on better tyres can almost run into the back of him, and he's got to get through sooner rather than later. X-Gamer, the fastest man on track in P11, so that's the fastest that point now. Proudly owned a Williams, but it won't be a point unless he gets in there. But no, Toro Rosso stealing it back, and then Mercedes stealing it back even more. Quicker drivers as the times tumble here in Brazil. So James Braden forcing his way through, if he can, to get past a huge train of drivers behind. And last week in America we saw lots of trains, not enough racing. So as we look at Braden, looking at eye for shot, what can he do? Alien the fastest man on track as he tries to battle alongside Billy. So they're all going power, hammer and tong. Langfeld fastest man on track on the stop tyres. It looks like he'll be leaning towards a 2-stop strategy here in Brazil. James Braden looking for a 1-stop strategy if he can get through and pass Santovic soon. Potato, the fastest man on track as he gets in the toe of X-Gamer. And here comes Braden. Santovic pulling to the outside line. Braden, is he going to be brave enough? Not this time round for the Mercedes driver. Further back, we saw drivers going side by side. I believe that may have been T. Jonas going side by side with someone as he tries to get past Lark. Here on board with Electro Dan, as we watch there with a man with the Senna helmet currently in P8. What can he do today with the Ferrari? Senna obviously never driving for that. No more stops to do. And that's what Lee said. Doctor Who barrier, hello. Gotta salute that every time, or jump out at you and bite you. So Lee thinking that Santovic is definitely going to the end. He reckons the mediums can go to the end as well. So it'll be a few drivers like Langfeld who decided not to join him on the yellow striped tyres. If we look at Electro Dan under pressure from Dantan. And drivers all going utterly mental now. Dantan looking, Electro Dan going! Electro Dan making contact with Lark! Pulling back into traffic there, and Potato having to take to the grass, or David, sorry, having to take to the grass, and David will complain. What on earth was he doing out there? Lark dropping behind T-Jonas now after that contact with Electro Dan. A very messy move gone wrong there for the Ferrari driver. Front wing everywhere, and 10-second penalty to boot. Up the inside he goes, and Lark almost making contact with the rear end of the McLaren in front. David dropping behind Potato. Potato got some immense pace tonight here in the Racing Point. Racing many points if it can, if it still has the pace of the other car as well. Back following Lark as he looks to overtake T-Jonas, but I think the time is starting to come down. Car a little bit wounded from that incident with Dan. Again, I apologise for the for the yawning. Again, 4 12-hour shifts in a row and not being at home does that to you. 1:11.3 is the fastest lap of the race. Lark there going to the inside line on Jonas. Jonas trying to defend. I think Lark's going to try and hang him out wide. Almost contact there. And the McLaren, having to go way off. McLaren in trouble. He's round. What happened there? He's on the racing line. Gotta hope that he goes as they roll back onto the circuit. And T-Jonas doing his best job there not to crash. He's shaking his reel. He said to me earlier on today's Electro Dan retires in pit lane 10 laps down on our first retirement here in GP2. How disappointing. So Martin's taking to the grass and overtaking Jonas there, doing his best he can, and Jonas clips him and round they go. And almost, I think you can almost not blame T-Jonas for doing that, because he did overtake him when he was off track. Martins did come at him like he was, as his namesake would be, a torpedo. But T-Jonas did say to me that he was on his brother's rig tonight, so he was going to be in a very difficult situation, different rig to what he dealt with. At the inside comes Lazar Stankovic under pressure. Number 13 Haas is going to have to relieve that position so far. Is he going to be able to chuck it up the inside anymore? He decides not to. Times at the top of the board, less than a second here as Langfeld looks to regain the lead of the race. Electro Dan leaving the session. And the Dutch driver in front facing the Norwegian driver, and lag as always here in GP2. Let's keep our eye on every battle on track though, and we see Potato and Gamer going side by side. Sector 2 yellow flag. That is, in fact, a McLaren once more. And now we go side by side. X-Gamer cannot defend against Potato. And one racing point is through. The next one's time to come. What is T-Jonas up to? He's struggling on the cars. He's rolling on the AstroTurf right now. Rolling back on the circuit. And we'll see what the McLaren can do. Yellow flag rescinded. Here is the Alfa Romeo pair. Do they swap positions? Is Shadow Britain going to be conscious enough to change positions and let his teammates through? Salute up the whole rules. Remember to salute that or you'll end up getting sent into the time vortex. Chris Alien, bad to worse in P18 as he gets another time penalty. Ferrari struggling today. Gap at the top of the show though is less than 5 tenths as we look towards Langfeld with DRS. Can he get through on the Dutchman this time? It's a very short run to the corner. He's going to try out the inside. Pulls the Norwegian. Here we're going to see the Williams drop behind. We are going to see the Williams drop behind for a moment. He runs out a little bit wide though. And whether Chen Game can retake that and retake his lead of the race, we don't know. Shadow Britain has dropped behind his teammate of Stockwin. Stockwin looking to have some fun in P11. And punch with a time penalty in P15, so apologise. And T-Jonas retiring from the session. He's had enough of Brazil. Disappointing day for McLaren. One driver not arriving to circuit. One driver getting involved in an incident, I believe all by himself, and then involved in a further incident with Senna. T-Jonas leaving the session. DRS open on Lark's car. Or Leck's car, sorry. Leck pushing up the inside as he tries to overtake Dantan on the outside. Can't do it. Lock up there for the inside right. Sorry, the inside left. And now we look at Leck trying to drive and drive past Dan. What can you do? You check out the inside here. He looks about it. He decides not to, though, does the Renault man. Remember, Renault used to sponsor Red Bull and be their engine provider as well. All of these coming up very quickly to what seems to be Sančovič in the Haas, who's dropping further and further back with his current hard tyres. As we now see what he can do as he looks towards overtaking the Red Bull. Gap at the top of the show is currently 0.4 of a second. What can Langfeld do to reclaim his win? And I believe he's going to have to pit one more time in this race for another set of either soft tyres or medium tyres to boot and have some fun. And I think the soft tyres are going to start to wear away now. Remember, no qualifying, and these tyres to be started on intermediate conditions. 14 laps completed. 36 on the clock. We've still got about 23 laps to go of this race. Here's Lek still trying to get past Dantan. Apologies again if I'm getting names wrong. Right now I'm rather tired to the point that my eyes are starting to lose focus. So I may make some mistakes, but I'm not going to make a mistake with who's going to try and take the lead here. It's Chain Gang Wow, who's powering on in the Williams, trying to give Williams some glory that they may potentially not have in 2020 in real Formula 1. Who knows? Martins with a time penalty in P14, as now we look a little bit wide there as we see James Braden poking his nose out going, I'm coming, I'm here. DRS open though on Robin's car. The Flying Dutchman looking at the inside line. The second Flying Dutchman in SFR. He goes up the inside line. And with the Navarious Norwegian of Langfeld is wise to the trick. He tries to get underneath him, but he cannot do it this time round. Skating, sliding, losing tyre grip. I wonder if it's almost time to pit as we see Langfeld saying no. On the straight, I've still got more power. As he tries to go up the inside, he has made it stick. He's going to sail out a little bit wide, but he manages to control the car. Here comes Robin. Robin trying to look his way through. Is it a dangerous choice if he saw this see him go there? He decides not to. Very cool and composed from the top three. Whew, I've not had to do that for a long time. And now we look at Chain Gang Wow, but let's have a look at Braden. James abusing his Mercedes engine, got it set on loud engine mode as he looks to try and get through. Try and see what he can do, see who he can suss out, if he can suss out an overtake on Chain Gang Wow, if he can suss out an overtake on both of them as they run into the 16th lap of the race, which will mark 21 laps remaining in this Grand Prix as Langfeld moves around the straight. It seems the fast driver right now is Robin in P2. Chain Gang Wow, as the rest of the world knows him. He's going to chuck it up the inside as DRS opens on the Williams car. There it is, the rocket car. See that disappearing from Formula 1 soon. As you see him thinking about it, deciding not to go at the inside though. As James Braden getting closer to the mark, but Langfeld's in trouble. The grip really struggling at the top of the show. Sančovič being passed by Lek, who's going to battle on with him as they run up towards the quick right-hander. We'll see if we can get a picture as they run in. What's going to happen? Sančovič on the inside line. Lek being filtered out. No contact quality overtake there for Sančovič, but Lek coming back at him. And the Greek driver wanting to show off as best he can, but I don't think it's happened this time round. James Braden in line for a chance at winning this race. Let's be honest, Langfeld is pitting once more in this race. Sound off in the comments if you're excited about this race. Chris Alien back in pit lane once more. He's going to be lapped, and we see Langfeld defending into pit lane. Now we'll see Chain Gang Wow looking to overtake him. And James Braden to the inside line. 3 wide here as we see a retirement into pit lane. Who comes out on top? It's Chain Gang Wow ahead of James Braden, who's ahead of Langfeld. As Langfeld pushed those tyres way too long. Who knows? Chain Gang Wow under serious pressure now from James Braden. Who's got the better power? Mercedes versus Williams. Two same power units. Is he going to be able to tuck in? And Chenge Well is taken into P2. And Langfeld taking it back into P3. What can Lang do as he tries to battle onside? Lazard on the inside line now. As there's almost contact there. And Lazard does chuck it at the inside. And I think that's well and truly telling us that these soft tyres are absolutely cream cracker knackered. Crikey O'Reilly. What a stunning Grand Prix so far. 17 laps completed. That gives us 20 to go here in Brazil. Let's look at Sančović. Man who potentially will have this race in a little doggy bag to take back home to Belgium. And Mike Bundy wants points tonight after a disappointing qualifying session. Binder Billy with a time penalty as they head on to lap 18. It seems that the drivers all getting close to Lazard, the fastest man on track in P3. Yeah, we see the pit lane for X Gamer. Oh, I do apologise. I thought I was selecting Langfeld for a moment there. Here comes Langfeld, who's in P4, trying to overtake P3, but it isn't going to happen this time. Ledger down saying the mediums will last to the end, so we will see Sančović pop up at the end. Lazard skating across the track now, and James Braden not only wants to solidify his win of the championship with a win, he wants to solidify his win with a dominant win, sorry. Came home in a disappointing place last week in America as JB Hogan won. What can Chen Gainwell do? Can he spoil the party for the Friday night commentator of James Braden? DRS open on Robin's car as he looks to get his way through. Braking hard as he comes across Dantan, now the fastest man on track in P5. Is there a multi-21 situation brewing at Red Bull? If there is, can we broadcast it? Sančović getting past Lek. As we look further back, Mike Bundy looking to pass Stockman. I do apologise, I believe I have a sneeze on this way. Mike Bundy up the inside as he tries to pass Stockman. Stockman, no, skating back through Sančović, and Lek have a good fight. Apologies there, I did sneeze. I tried to keep it as quiet as possible. And, Stockman not leaving any room for Bundy, moving back across him. Could have been classed as naughty, could have been classed as fine. Who knows? We'll see what the stewards think at the end of the race. Bundy looking to go around the outside. Little bump! And Bundy! Oh, almost ending two races in one. Oh, hooking the rear tyre there as he really starts to push on. Wanted to get that point off Stockman. Now on to the 20th lap of racing, which will mark 17 laps to go here in Brazil. Chen Gainwell with full power cannot get past Braden. And there we see further back Lek versus Sančović. Sančović the outside line. And all the while, this little battle here as it gets more violent with the contact there is really, really getting in the way of Sančović's time here at racing. He wants to be back up there. He needs to be close if he wants to get a chance of winning this race. Now, as we see Lek coming back at the Haas up the inside. A very good move there for Lek. There's crowd clapping. Though the crowd here in SFR are not made of cardboard. They are made of a wonderful substance called love. So the drivers coming through. Sančović battling hard. Stockman and David now battling hard. David having to give up the position. Here comes Bundy on David. What can he do? David's braking hard. He has no tyre grip there. I assume that's what it was, or he was just letting his friend through. Who knows? If we look now back at Lazard in the Toloso. P3 wants to make it P2. Wants to make sure that the Red Bulls don't pass him. Roses are red, violets are blue, P2 is there and I want you is what Lazard is singing as he tries to get past Chen Gainwell. DRS of James Braden. Seriously, how we go? Look at the difference in brake line. Langfeld pits from P3, P4 in the grid. Chen Gainwell with multiple penalties there that could really affect his race as he has earlier on already taken one penalty. He will now have a 6 seconds worth of penalty on his desk at the end of the race. So as we focus now, here's Bundy looking to pass Stockwin once more. And the awful Mercedes engine glitch is still very much in effect. So we keep our eyes on the field here in GP2. 21 laps of racing complete. Whether we will make it to full distance without a safety car, we do not know, but we will find out sooner rather than later. Sector 2, yellow flags are waving. Is Lek in trouble? So he's getting back restarted there in the Renault. No failure on the front end. It seems he just lost the rear end as his tyres start to wear, and he has been pushing those tyres rather hard in this race. Now, whether James Braden will start to back up and try and get Chain Game Well to pass Lazard, I don't know. Or whether to work vice versa, who knows? DRS opens though. Chain Game Well looks to the inside line, cannot make it stick on Bundy. Sorry, on Braden. Too many Bs in one team. It's like having Hamilton and Hamilton in Mercedes. You just cannot tell who's who. Pit lane is Lurk. He's going to drop well out the points. That will give Mike Bundy that P8 he so desires. What can happen in this race? Anything can happen as the drivers pile on every bit of pressure they can on each other for the final 2 rounds on 2019, the final 2 rounds of 2019 game and the 2020 game on its way, as I'm suddenly making an entirely amount of sense, which is numbered 0. That made no sense. I do apologise. I'm very tired. Lazard piling the pressure on as much as he can on Chain Game. Chain Game looking defensive there. Chain Game, the pit lane now. That's the defensive move there. Is he going to get out ahead of Langfell there? Where's Langfell? Excuse me. Langfell putting pressure on David, and I wonder. It seems the Williams is rolling. I wonder if the Williams and the rest of the grid will have to stop pitting now if they're worried. Langfell to the outside line on David. David having to just abandon the pit lane. And it does seem like Robin is going to get well out in front, so the overcut this time working on the driver behind. So Lazard is the newest man to challenge Braden in P1. Will we see both these drivers respond to Robin pitting? What shall we do? Who knows? David and Bundy in pit lane. All for soft tyres. Last few laps of the race. 14 laps remain on this current set. Going to be about 13 in just a moment's time as we see Lazard into pit lane. Is Braden going to react one more lap later? Is he going to keep going on these tyres? What do you think in the comments below? Drop us a like if you're enjoying the stream and make sure you subscribe to SFR. Also, if you want to put any question into the podium sitters, just put it into the chat. If you put hashtag AskJP in front of it, you might even get a small squeeze from me. Who knows? And if you ask anything rude, well, I'll just laugh and say that I'll ask it then when the stream is off. Stockwin pits, Langfell up to P7. Here's Bundy. Who's quicker? One previous champion, one current champion of SFR. Senna piling on as much pressure. So Lee putting in his 2 cents from the Williams garage saying that he believes James Braden will carry on and start building the gap even more. That's entirely possible. Sancho is currently in P3. He's in a good position for a good P2 today. Who knows as Martins starts to feel the pressure of the Bundy. James Braden in pit lane. Race leader into pit lane. Our new race leader will be Dan Tan. And will James Braden get out ahead of Lazard, who pitted earlier? Lazard is rolling, and so is Braden as they're coming through. I think Braden has going to beat him by just a margin. Chain Game Well, the fastest man on track, and Chain Game Well is going to be the one under pressure to try and beat Braden. And going side by side through the S, and it seems that Braden has lost out to Chain Game Wow. Let's have a look. James Braden has dropped out and lost behind the Williams. And Lee commentating from the chat telling me yes, he has lost the lead because JB, you are drunk. Possibly. Mike Bundy now trying to get around the outside of Martins. He's going to try it. Is he going to be able to do it? He doesn't manage to do it. But David, with a time penalty further back, as Martinez starts to put pressure on Bundy. Bundy having to bail out. He cannot get past the flying Toro Rosso right now. Mercedes and Toro Rosso do have quite a strong rivalry here in Brazil as we look back at 2019. Mike Bundy, thank you that move. That was the number 2 car that made contact. That flew up the field and won himself a place in second place on the podium. Ahead. Chain going well. Our current professional race winner is in P4, and he's won the fastest lap point so far in this race. Oh, I do apologise. I suddenly got very tired. And Mike Bundy to the outside line now as he tries to pass Martins. We've seen this before, and it seems this time it will make more sense to overtake each other. And Martins cannot defend though, as Bundy drops further and further back. But he's sliding up the track. He's in trouble. What can Mike do? What can Stockman do? He wants points for his first day out, and he's got 2 cars in front of him. And then there's that 1 point, and Shadow Britain with a time penalty in P15. Struggling he is for the Alfa Romeo Sauber team. Wido Billy struggling as well for the Haas team. Sector 2 is in trouble. Is it Punch? Punch is in trouble. He's under pressure from Britain, and I wonder if he slowed up a little bit to try and brace someone. Because he let him through. 24 laps on those tyres, no sign of a puncture. Potato pits for a fresh set of soft tyres here in Brazil. Stockman trying to pile on as much pressure as he can on the drivers in front. More surprise in the chat as drivers bail into pit lane. Most notably is Potato, who's going to be just ahead of Bundy. By just ahead, I mean about half a second ahead. Punch and damage on front left, thank you for spotting that. My eyes are really starting to suffer as Martin's now struggling to overtake Bundy. Is he going to try in opportune places? It doesn't seem like he is so far. And slow moving as they try and go through here. Heading towards top 2 corner in just a few corners time. Through door 2 corner, remember to salute the car as Lazard becomes the fastest man on the track at 110.8, heading towards qualifying trim for a few years ago. Martin's putting as much pressure as he can as Lek gets passed by Potato. Potato on fresh soft tyres should be able to destroy as much as he can with the competition, but Lek coming back at him. Lek's going to try up the outside. Potato's going to try and feed him out to water just a little bit there as they overdrive the car. Where's it going to end up? Is it going to end in a scrapyard? It doesn't seem like it. A little bit of wiggle there from Potato. And Lek is through. Who's to be braver on the traction? It's going to be Lek, who had the inside line through the left hand. .23 laps on those tyres. Dantan is really pushing it on. Oh, I apologise, guys. I may not be able to do driver's interviews because I'm just plain exhausted. Oh, I do apologise. And I'm starting to really struggle to think as we watch Potato try to push on and repass Lek, who passed him last time. Unsuccessful this time around. Further back though, let's have a look at Stockman, who has Martins in front. He wants to have that P11. He's going to need to have that P11. He swings. It's a dummy. It's all over the place. It's going to be P12 for Stockman at this moment in time, as Martins is seriously putting pressure on the defending side of things, trying to look up the inside, as now we see trying to go around the outside. comes safety 2 yellow flag further round. It's Mike Bundy. Is it Mike Bundy or is it David? Someone's in trouble. A spinner further back as well. We look at everything. You think Downtown's got this? They said in the chat is Electro done. I think that could happen. Whether the tyres can last or not, we don't know. We'll have a look at the tyres in just a moment's time. For Downtown, they are looking pretty okay, actually. What was Spicer's race up right now with 7 laps to go? Potato is looking to pass Lek. Lizard with time penalties, that's going to really affect his position in P5. Drivers all pushing on, wanting to go as far as they can. Lee! Lee's texting me as soon as he's there. As Potato tries to overtake Lek, he's going to do as best he can, and he is going to be the fastest man in Sector 1. He's going to go way, way wide. He's gone so wide, he's back in Abu Dhabi. And now you see the BWT Water Company sponsored car of Racing Points trying to get ahead of the Renault in front. He's going to come to the inside. The Mercedes engine, though, in the back of the Force India. Sorry, the Racing Point is going to do its best to overtake that car, and he has done that best. Get your comments in the chat if you're enjoying yourselves. With 6 laps to go in this race, Potato is in P8. Leader of the race is Downtown by 4 seconds. Whether that will come down, we don't know. We know his tyres look pretty okay. But then again, I'm not the best of character to judge them. Will James Braden make it on the podium with no time penalties? It seems he will with time penalties. But whether he can overtake Robin is a very different story right now. One virtual safety car in this race, and that was earlier on after a crash with the barrier brushed off someone's very large front wing. Here's Luck back up the inside of Potato. Potato swinging around the outside. He's saying, if you want my chips, you're going to get through. The Irishman fighting against the yellow car, and it seems the yellow car is going to have to bail out as they're almost on a collision course there. Almost the scene of an accident, as Martin Rundle would soon say. Excuse me. I'm drinking coffee and there's zero energy coming through right now. I may get a burst of it towards the end of the race. James Braden, now the fastest man on track, is looking to overtake. He is now well within a second of the lap. And Sanchovic in trouble. I think his tyres are on the wear as well. So, Shane going well. He's got enough penalties to relegate him off the podium today. Wide low Billy with penalties himself in P15. I tell you what, the race can still come down. One little step up for Downtown, and that's it. Who will win the race? Will it be Downtown himself, Shane Gainwell, James Braden, or Sanchovic? Who knows? Could it be someone else? Hold on, Sanchovic. People are shouting in the chat, screaming in the stands. Hold on, your tyres can do it. And we're looking at the Red Bull thinking, how are your tyres still doing it? What on earth are you on? The tyres are on crack, we all know that. As now we look at Shane Gainwell looking to overtake his arch nemesis in this race, Sanchovic there. And the Belgian driver staying tight to the inside wall. Shane Gainwell is going to try and chuck it round the outside. It's not going to happen. He's going to skip the grass. And here comes James Braden. Try and pass him. He decides not to attempt to pass the young Dutchman in front. Side by side along the straight now. James Braden is not playing around. He knows at the time where to spin. I tell you what, the gaps come down exponentially. Something's wrong. I wonder if Downtown's tyres are really wearing to the point that we may see a puncture upon the final lap of racing. Who knows? He has stretched those tyres out to the absolute limits here in Brazil. And we have less than 5 laps of the race to go. More drivers getting involved. Further back, you see Lek still defending from Potato, who's looking for a better finish than P8, but he may get it. Who knows? Right now, it's the battle for P2, which could turn into battle for P1 soon. The gap is coming down at a tenth of a second every lap. Sanchovic leads. changing well in P2 and then P3 and then James Braden in P4. Is he going to wait to see if there's a chance here? Changing around to the outside line. Sanchevic's going to try and come back, and a big lock up for Sanchevic, and Robin's going to try and swoop around the outside. Couldn't do it. The Haas doing a good job despite the lock up there, as DRS is going to open on James Braden's car. DRS opens now as he looks to try and overtake Robin. Robin looking to the outside line. What can Changing well do? He's there. And there's contact, and Sanchevic is off, and you could say that's all down to not James Braden, to Changing well for clip again, but again, we'll have to see it from the steward's point of view. That's one less car between James Braden and Langfeld. Langfeld, is he going to be able to hold on and take the win today? Let's have a look at his tyres. His tyres are starting to look a little bit worn at the front. Can we get a shot at the backs? Don't think we can right now. Gap is currently 2.0 seconds. Lots of opportunities to have a look at the smart. The race that currently goes to James Braden, this man we're watching, due to lag. He's still a 109.981 as his fastest lap. He is quicker than these current drivers in front of him. Whether that will affect him now if we're onto the penultimate lap of racing, we don't know. Sector 1 yellow flag, and there's a spinner car. It's Billy, almost getting in the way. Sector 1 lights up with a yellow flag. I think I'd be annoyed too. I think Sanchevic may have to have a word with the stewards there. He could feel he was cut off by Changing well, and he could feel that James Braden could have done more to avoid him. Who knows? From my point of view, I don't believe that James Braden could have done more. Potato with a time penalty in P9. First lap of the race, and I wonder if we will have a photo finish here as the gap is really starting to die. 1.1 seconds, less than a second at the top of the show. It's going to be close whether who wins this race. We know that Changing well has at least 6 seconds worth of penalties. Ex-gamer Level Williams with a time penalty now. He's currently in P7 as we now look towards the final lap of the race. Let's see what will happen. Less than half a second separates the leaders. I wonder if Langfeld's tyres are screaming, are crying, are saying, "Daddy, please stop. I can't do it anymore." Punch retires from the session. Out on track, that could cause, no, that won't cause safety car on the final lap, but Dan Tan putting on as much pressure as he can. James Braden, though, with the best pressure. Oh, he's made contact. Oh, what happened there? But he has to say, just within that 3 second window, that 6 second window, he will take second place in this race, let alone maybe even first place in this race. Who knows what will happen further back? We will see Dan Tan win the race, or be so cruelly denied. Changing Wells doing everything he can to try and overtake him. He's on the inside. There's a big amount of contact there, and big damage there on both sides. And Dan Tan coming back at him, bumping and bashing his way, thinking, you can play this way, so can I. And up the inside, we see Red Bull's races end here. Previously in Formula 1, they're bashing, they're bumping, and keep it clean. You're going a little bit fast for that, lads. But Dan Tan has lost the lead of this race. But it might be that he is going to win the race on penalties. It looks to be that way. Changing well on the road, coming round the final corner, is going to win the race. But due to penalties, Dan Tan is going to be your winner here in Brazil. Oh no! James Braden, the winner! Dan Tan with a time penalty for an unserved pit stop. For an unserved 5 second penalty in the pit stop. So, James Braden, your championship leader and championship winner, is the winner today. Starting off his tenure as the GP2 champion as a winner. Whew. Why is it I woke up towards the end there? It's not coming on the drivers, I'm just very tired. We'll get the drivers in and have a chat with them. I believe we'll have all 3 of them in to chat with as we wait for the race to end now. All further back, we see Shadow Britton and Martins fighting to the line. We have missed that on stream, unfortunately. Mike Bundy getting a point in P9 ahead of Stockwin, who did well to get a point in P10. Both debutants tonight, Stockwin and Leck getting points on their first time out. James Braden screaming on the radio, yes, yes, and yes again, sounding much like Sebastian Vettel. Final car by the finish the race now will be, well, it'd be White Billy if you could see if White Billy would retire from the session at this moment in time. But I don't think that he honestly cares. So waiting for Billy, looking for his place in the sun. Let's hope he doesn't place any buggers at the end. Very slow as he out of fuel is Billy, so he's not playing silly buggers, he's actually out of fuel in the car. James Braden is your winner though tonight in P1. Ahead of Downtown in P2 and another driver being Chen Gaewao in P3. So there he is, your Season 6 champion. Confirmed now as he is now well out of touching distance for JB Hogan. Now's the race for P2. Who will win that? Britain triumphant in Brazil. Ahead of Norway and Denmark. The Netherlands. I won't get thanked for that one. Here are your results, barring any stewards' investigations. There may be some, but it seems to be a relatively clean race with one virtual safety car towards the beginning of the race. James Braden in P1 ahead of Dantan, who's in P2, Chen Gaewao in P3. Lazard is in P4 ahead of Langfeld, who's in P5. Sanchovic heading the Belgian charge, unfortunately down in P6. X-Gamer was in P7 ahead of Lek, who's in P8. Bundy was in P9 ahead of Stockman, who was in P10. Outside of the points, Potato finishing P11 ahead of Martins, who finished in P12. Britain in P13 ahead of David, who's in P14. Billy is in P15 ahead of Punch, who's in P6. Drivers who did not finish the race. As Billy's the final one. Punch, Chris, T. Jonas, Dan did not finish the race. Oh, gravy. And that was your race here at Brazil. Let's stay tuned though for the drivers' interviews. We have a chat with them and work out just how that final lap happened at the end. So as we quickly get in the drivers we need, James Braden should be able to just rejoin us with the invite I've already given him, but we will send him another one just in case. Ba-da-ba-da. I'm surprised he didn't start singing halfway through that. When I get tired, I start singing or doing voices. But not today. Let's make sure. Oh, as my PlayStation suddenly gets very slow. Come on, please stop. Oh, this thing's so old. Who else was it? It was Chen Gaewao. He's excited already, and he has joined us here. And the final driver being Downtown. And we'll quickly get them on screen, and we will have a chat with the drivers. And just to be, Downtown's in his own party, so I can't invite him at the moment. So I'll have to do it another way. Give me a moment, and we'll get him invited.
Great effort, chain game, mate. Well done.
Yeah, good race.
That was.
I might have you guys interview each other today just to make it a change, and plus I'm falling asleep. Let's see if I got Downtown on my friends list quickly. Oh, sure I do.
I shouldn't have. That was my fault.
Oh,
that wasn't
did you?
your fault.
Was that in my folder again? You've been looking at my folders.
No, change game was always going to come across. I should have thought more about what I was doing. So no, I'm not going to take that further. That's fine.
He says that now. He says that now.
No.
He might end up with a hefty fine from Mercedes saying you broke one of our noses.
No, I'm not taking that further. That's cool.
So, and just because James started talking early and I want to bully him, he can wait till the end to talk, and we're going to go straight and talk to Dantan. If you plug your mouth, champion, you can be quiet for a minute. Dantan, that race, it was just a few laps too long, wasn't it?
Yeah, after that 5-second time penalty into the pits, I didn't really have any hopes. So I just stayed out, knew the mediums would go all the way, so hoping for the best. And that Sanchowicz could just fend them off for a while.
Well, you almost got your wish, though, throughout that race. But did you enjoy it nonetheless, though?
Yeah, it was a nice race. I enjoy Brazil. It's a nice track. But yeah, the start didn't go so well, and should have pitted one lap earlier, the 5-second time penalty, and I just found myself in the middle of nowhere, really. So I had to try something else than pitting with all the other guys. Yeah.
So, a struggle, but are you happy with P3? P2, you apologise?
Yeah.
As I said, very falling asleep here. That isn't on your guys. You guys put on the fantastic races where you've done 4 12-hour shifts in a row. You start to forget your own name. It's written on my hand. It says BJ. Oh wait, no, that's what I get later.
Yeah, dearie me.
Next week, though, you're off to Abu Dhabi. Dan, how do you feel about that track, which is a bit Marmite in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. I'm always pretty fast at it, but it's a boring track, isn't it? It's not really a good track.
Well, I assure you, you guys better make it unboring for us.
Yeah, we'll try. I'll try.
And one more question, Dan. Any particular look on a 2020 car that you've decided on, or have you not decided to sign any deals yet with the 2020 teams?
I like McLaren and I like Red Bull most, I think. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
2 polar opposite cars. We'll be intrigued to see what overalls we see Dan wearing next season. So, we can talk to James Braden, but I don't want to. So we're going to go talk to Robin. Chain Game, that race, you battled hard, and you came out almost on top, didn't you?
Yeah, Paul, I was just nervous and stressful the whole race. But starting off in my qualifying, I had pretty much a perfect lap with 1 of 7.7. That was quicker than I did in practice. And in the race, I think on the second lap I did a Verstappen save by almost crashing into the wall, but saved it with a few meters. Don't know if you caught that on stream, but I can show you.
Ooh, I'd be intrigued to see.
Yeah, and when it was dried up, Langford was on the softs, and when he was behind me, I let him go to see what his pace was, but it wasn't really faster. And then I decided to go onto the softs, as I didn't think the mediums will stretch it to the end. And later Lazard and James followed me in, and then I had James closer to me what I expected, as Lazard was way back behind me. And if you know if James behind you, you have to push until the checkered flag, which I did. And then I had an incident with Sancho. I was gearing to the third gear, which I steered more into the corner, and I touched him off, so I apologized to him. And then I knew that Dan was coming closer, so I really wanted that win on track to make it really amazing. And the last lap was really phenomenal. I wanted to try to go around the outside, but touched the grass. And then James was stucking his nose in, and I didn't know if there was any contact. I didn't know if there was any contact. I saw just at the top of my screen incident with it. Oh no! And then,
he is very nosy, isn't he? Putting his nose in places it shouldn't go.
and to ride off, I had a really hard but fun battle with Dan. I got damaged, but still a very good battle with him. I enjoyed it. On-track win. It's actually my third win. In France, I also won on track, but I got penalties, and I'm really happy with it.
Well, you can always be happy with it. You can take away that you had the pace today to win the race, but it just didn't go your way. Nonetheless, next week off to Abu Dhabi. Are you excited for that track?
Before I answered that question. When I was in practice, I didn't believe I would be able to win the race. I thought I was be able to maybe reach the top 8, because my pace isn't really good at Brazil normally, but about Abu Dhabi, my pace is just like a boat on that track. I am so slow at the track, but hope to improve.
Why don't you ask if you borrow this guy's car?
Can you ask again?
Okay, why don't you ask if you can borrow James Braden's car for that race?
Well, if he wants, maybe, but no. Williams drives fine. I will do my best and put practice hours in and hope I can try to go the same result, but top 5 will also be okay for me.
On the subject of cars, though, have you picked a potential favourite for next season's car?
At the moment, I'm focusing on the finish in 3rd position in the championship, which will be very important for me personally. And about the cars, when I was looking at the testing, I wanted the Williams. I love the car, but since they broke the sponsorship with Rocket, I have my doubts if they want to pick the car. I will see how the livery will be before F1 will restart the season. And before this season, I wanted the Red Bull, and I still want it. But I will see. Have it. Maybe if I pay someone.
Yeah.
Helmut Marko is looking for drivers, I heard, seeing he's infected all of them with coronavirus.
Oh god, yeah.
It's an old one there. Alright, well, thank you, Robin. We'll have a chat with you again sometime soon when you're next on the podium. And that's just a no. I guess we have to talk to him.
We do.
Did you enjoy that?
It was great. That was
Did you?
one of the most fun races I've done in SFI. It was just... It went down to the last corner pretty much. It was such a difficult race, but it was fun from the start. I really enjoyed the conditions at the beginning. I had really good pace actually in the dries. Had a really good battle with chain game, and then obviously I stayed out a couple laps longer just to make sure the softs would go to the end. But I knew my mediums wouldn't have made it. I'm surprised Dantan could get them that far. Mine was starting to die. So yeah, and then it was just trying to catch him, and I was like, chain game's got to get past Sanchowitz. Otherwise we're not going to catch Dantan, but we got there in the end. And watching that final lap with chain game, Dantan side to side pretty much to the last corner was so cool. And I knew I had no penalties. I didn't know if Dantan had the penalty. I knew chain game did. But when I came across the line to win, it makes me feel a lot better. Obviously, I became champion today, but the races made me feel a lot better, and it was a really fun drive. So, yeah, thanks to all that raced.
On the subject of that incident with Sanchowitz, do you believe that you hold any fault for what sent him into the wall?
No, I don't have footage because it ended about 2 laps beforehand.
We were on board with you, so we can use your footage.
Oh, okay. I broke as hard as I could. I did what was natural in any racing instinct. I broke. He was half spinning. What can I do? There was nowhere for me to go. Sorry, Sanchowitz. He's a top driver, but there's nothing I personally could have done. I think it's just a racing incident.
Well, we'll see you next week off to Abu Dhabi for the final time on 2019. Yep. Are we going to see you back on the top step, or are you going to languish down in 10th because you started from the back and Abu Dhabi is a terrible track to overtake on?
I used to love Abu Dhabi, but I do agree with Dantan. It is a bit of a boring track, to be fair. It's like the first sector is really nothing. The second sector, well, you have chances to overtake, but the last sector is all about mechanical grip. So I think it'll be all right, but it'd be nice to qualify maybe up higher up the grid, maybe to get a pole if I could, but I'm just going to race hard and end season in style, really, is my aim, and have fun, which is why we race. People must not forget that. And
next year for the Season 7 car, have you had a particular pick of that car, Mr. Braden? Or is Mercedes just strapping you into the car over the winter?
No, it won't be Mercedes. I won't race a Mercedes. I'd kind of like to change the cars up, so it won't be a Mercedes. My actual natural racing car for league racing is Williams, so I don't know if I'll make a return to my natural home. But I'd quite like the Racing Point, to be fair.
Really?
That'd be quite cool.
I don't want Racing Point because they're crap. I want Aston Martin.
Oh, Aston Martin. Okay, yeah. Well, it'll be Aston Martin in 2021, but
Well, I believe SFR might start calling it Aston Martin a year before. Who knows?
the thing is, when they come Aston Martin, I still call them Force India. So
It's alright. Lee still calls them Jordan because he just wants it. Nonetheless, though, thank you so much for joining us, both of you gentlemen, and we'll leave you to it. Go get drunk or do whatever you want to do, but make sure you're not driving a car, because I'm not responsible for this. Again, I have to keep reminding people, if you drink and drive, I'm not responsible for you. Nonetheless, though, that is not this week in SFR done. Tomorrow we have the Premier Division, or I don't know what's left of it, maybe the skeletal remains of the Premier Division, going racing here in Brazil. They're going to be having some fun racing around this track, if there's any Premier drivers left. On Friday, James, you're on commentary on Friday. You'll know what car is happening on Friday.
Oh, we are in the 2004 Ferrari around Bahrain, if my memory serves me correct.
So keep an eye on the channel for that race for the Classic Championship. On Sunday, I believe the Reserve Championship is back, and we will see what happens in that colossal calamity. We'll see you in Abu Dhabi. Do you like that one? We'll see you in Abu Dhabi and have a very good time, and for the penultimate time of the season. Ta-ra, guys.